Hello, I'm Joey, and yes, today, once again, we are traveling halfway around the world to an artist that we absolutely love. And let me just introduce him. It's Finneas here on ICRT and also on Asia Pop 40. Hello.
Hey, how are you? Thanks for talking to me today.
How are things over there?
Things are good. I just got back from a dog walk. It's so hot in the mornings here that I kind of have I usually wake up, have some coffee, and then take my dog on a walk. But it's been just so hot lately that now I do it after dinner. But
that is
that's
pretty
nice
crazy.
too.
And also, it's been a weird year for Cali, also for where you are in the United States. This leads us right into the single. What they'll say about us is essentially, I'm guessing, a song inspired by 2020, by what's happened this year so far.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely wouldn't have been written without it. That's definitely the truth. The two things that were the biggest influences on the song were back in June, I was going to Black Lives Matter protests with my girlfriend and my sister, running into friends there. And then I was coming home every night, and I'd been following the story of Nick Cordero, who was a Broadway performer. And it was kind of those two things at the same time, feeling very hopeful and inspired because of the protests, and also just sort of being wow, it's crazy that we're all going through this pandemic. Why everything's shut down.
And the chorus struck me because you say that we've got the time to take the world and make it better than it ever was, and that's what they'll say about us. Now, I'm curious, by us, did you know what us is? Does it mean this generation?
My hope is this generation. Yeah, that's what I was hoping for. But I think it's anyone. It's you talking to your best friend, and that's and how can we do the most we can. But yeah, I mean, that's this generation being my generation. And then I think even more so than my generation, to be honest, kids that are 18 right now, just graduated high school, those kids are really inspiring me.
And by the way, I love the music video where you basically stare at the camera the whole entire way through. And it's very candid. It's very earnest.
Yeah.
By the way, halfway through, you were showered by raindrops or water poured on you. But I don't know, I'm sure you've noticed, but about, I think, half a minute into the song, there's one single drop that got onto your head, and it's just drooping down your forehead. I couldn't take my eyes off that. Was that intended?
No, of course not. But I totally noticed that, and I'm glad you picked up on it. Basically there was this, it was really inventively done. I'm not the person who built it, but there was this sort of perforated hose running above where I was sitting, and it would they turn it on and water would flow through it. But the take that we used was the fifth take or something that we'd done, so it was still a couple droplets from a previous take. But yeah, I'm glad you picked up on that because I saw that.
It made it actually kind of perfect because it was a precursor to what was going to happen afterwards. And just as I was figuring it out, I was like, oh, that's what's gonna.
Yeah, I liked it.
Out of all the productions you've done recently, and especially the ones that I loved, including Ash's More of the Story, J.P. Sachs, Julia Michaels of The World Was Ending, I find that there's a common thread between these songs. I guess the adjectives are somber, poignant, forlorn. Now, would you agree that that's the kind of music you like to produce, or you end up producing? Did you choose these songs?
The thing I always go for is honest. I really want to make people's record that feels like oh, this is really how this person feels. I think sometimes it's very easy to write a song that's just a cool, catchy kind of I'm going out tonight pop song, and I'd much rather know how the person is actually feeling. And so I feel Story, Lose You to Love Me, If the World Was Ending, those are very honest songs. So those are the ones that I'm always drawn to.
And really, you're very good at that. You're a very good producer.
Thanks.
To start. But at the same time, I find that even knowing your prowess, knowing your skill set, you like to go quite minimalistic and bring out the vocalist. And I love that part about your production.
Thanks. I mean, I think that's the best thing you can do as a producer is get out of the way of a great singer. Me, a song is nothing without a great vocal performance. And if the person gives a great vocal performance, and I'm very lucky, I work with great vocalists like Billy and the people we just mentioned, Julia Michaels, Ash, JP Sachs, Camila Cabello, Tovlo, they all have voices I adore. And so it's why would I then put a bunch of stuff in the way of their beautiful voice? You know?
But then again, okay, speaking some of these interesting stuff, you like to use a lot of sounds from daily lives. The ones that I know of are, for example, Billy talked about a dental drill.
Yeah.
You talked about bad guys, pedestrian crossings in Australia.
Yeah.
What are some of the weirdest sounds that we haven't heard about that you've used?
That's a good question. Let me try to think what I've been using lately. I think one of the things that I got worried about was like, I felt like using found sounds, like using like a lighter and water, like raindrops and stuff. I felt like it was like sort of becoming like a little bit of like a gimmick. Like I was sort of known for that. And so I was a little worried that I would just like do it to a point where people were like, yeah, that's like all he does. So I think for a while now I've been like trying to like do less of that, just because I want it to be special always. Like I don't want it to be like, oh, he always does like found sounds. So there's like maybe my future, I'm not even sure which one, but yeah, there's like a dog bark.
You're always working on the next project, and I have been listening to your podcast, by the way. We Bought a House, I think that's what it's called, with Claudia.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thanks, man.
Latest episode, 2-year anniversary, so congratulations.
Thank you. I appreciate it. 2 years, I mean, if you go back 2 years in time, especially in my life, everything in the world was like different, and my life was completely different. So I feel very lucky to have experienced these last 2 years with Claudia.
Yeah, and now that we're spending so much time with each other indoors in very close spaces, I'm glad to hear that you guys are actually doing better even than when you were keeping a distance, because for a lot of people that's the opposite. At the very end, Finneas, I have a series of quick fire questions, and it's just 5-6 of them. The first one is kind of inspired from the podcast. So would you want to upload your brain into a super machine?
Yes.
I figured you'd say that. What is your go-to party song?
Ooh, my go-to party song, TikTok by Kesha.
Nice one. Okay. The last book you read?
Oh, I'm currently reading a book called Person of Interest. It's Edward Snowden's autobiography. It's really good. And then the book I read before that was, did you ever see the movie Frank, about like the musician that wears like a big like paper mache head?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember his name.
Frank Sidebottom, I think is his name. Anyway,
okay,
but it's like a true story, and so I read the book about like the true story of that.
What is your all-time favorite movie?
Ferris Bueller's Day Off or The Social Network.
Favorite cocktail?
Oh man, you know what? I am like such a I've been out to bars so infrequently that what I usually do is like someone that I'm out with orders something that I haven't heard of, and I'm just like I will also try that. Like I'll just try. I don't have like I'm not like I always get a Mai Tai or an old fashioned or something. Although I like Mai Tais and old fashions, but I usually just get whatever someone else is getting.
No, that's good to be adventurous. Okay, last question. I think I already know the answer to this one, but your favorite animal?
Wow, I like that you already know the answer, because I feel like I don't. I mean, I love my dog Peaches. What were you going to say?
I was going to say Peaches. I mean, if she's around, you can't let her hear it's anybody else, right?
Else, exactly.
Finneas, thank you so much for joining us today. And could you say goodbye to your fans here in Asia on ICRT?
Thank you so much for listening to this interview. And I hope I get to see you all in person whenever that's possible.